Welcome to Advent of Tessellations 2025. My name is Madonna Yoder, and you're joining hundreds of folders around the world on this 25-day journey into the infinite world of repeating patterns folded from a single sheet of paper. You'll discover many different twists in this challenge, building up to advanced patterns with flagstone motifs of trapezoid twists. Welcome to day 4 of Advent of Tess 2025. Where we're going to be folding this pattern I designed named Wobbly Pyramids. It has open triangle twists in groups of 4 on both the front and the back. So this will be our first pattern in Advent of Tess this year, folding twists on both sides of the paper. I've got my 24 fold triangle grid on a hexagon already folded, so let's go ahead and jump into the pattern. The first thing we'll need to do is identify the center of the paper. You can see where this is by following the lines out to the edge, or you can also fold your paper in half along a grid line and then fold so that the corner meets. So if you fold in half and then fold so the corner matches edges, then you'll find the center through folding, or with 24 divisions, it's small enough that we can see exactly where that center is. In this pattern, since we have twists on both sides, I'm going to go ahead and label this side A. Use red for that. And then the other side, I will label side B. And those labels are on the center points. So right off the bat, we need to start with an open triangle twist. And one feature that we see on the crease pattern, which you can find when you sign up at training.gatheringfolds.com/advent, or in the Advent of Tess ebook, or if you get the printed crease patterns on Skytone paper at gatheringfolds.com. One feature that you'll see is that there is a mountain fold 2 spaces away from the center that runs for 2 spaces before it hits a valley fold that is also 2 spaces away from the center and runs for 2 spaces. And there's 3 copies of each of these folds as you go around the center. So we are going to place the first open triangle twist up above this valley fold. Specifically, this mountain continues. We have the mountain 1 space away from the valley fold, and then our third mountain is going to define the open triangle for our twist. So we're going to go ahead and pick up these folds. What you want to look for if you are folding this without drawing on the paper is a mountain fold here that's coming and hitting 2 spaces away from the corner of the paper with the valley on the far side. And then for this pleat, you want to look for a valley fold that hits 2 spaces from the edge of the paper with the mountain fold outside of that. So those would be the references if you're not drawing on the paper. Here we've drawn on, so we can find that twist pretty straightforwardly. Once that's in place, I'll press to squash. The next thing we're going to do is flip the paper over. I'm flipping the paper from left to right, so I'm taking the left corner and taking it over to the right-hand side. One feature of this pattern is that we see the same folds on the front and the back. So we have that same hexagon of alternating mountain and valley folds on both sides of the paper. I'm just drawing a little bit of it. We already have one mountain there and one valley in there. We can use this valley fold to set up our next open triangle twist by saying there's going to be a mountain fold one space outside of the valley. And then this is going to be an open triangle. All of our triangles today are open triangles. And so we need our third mountain fold defining our single grid triangle in the center of that twist. Once that's set up, we can go ahead and press to squash. While we're on this side of the paper, we can go ahead and fold the next twist. It's one of those things where you'll get the same twist in place, whether you do the exact steps in sequence or not. So it's a bit of a toss-up as an instructor whether to do the direction that keeps the steps the most the same versus minimizes flipping the paper over. For today, I'm going to focus on minimizing times that we flip the paper over because that tends to be the most confusing for people. So I'm going to rotate my paper so that this other plate that's going around the center from our first triangle is going horizontally off to my right. And one thing to notice is that the corner of our new triangle twist landed at the corner of the hole of the other triangle twist. Now that on its own doesn't mean that that's going to happen on the other side, but that is in fact the case for this pattern. We're going to have our valley fold come to the corner of that open triangle hole and our mountain fold one space further away. And our third pleat will define the open triangle. And we can verify that we've put things in the correct location by saying this mountain needs to be 2 spaces away from the center, which indeed it is. And then we can press to squash our third open triangle twist. Now we have pleats from triangle twists on this side of the paper, and we've got some other pleats over here, but the ones we're interested in are these 2 parallel pleats. What we want to do is grab those parallel pleats. I'm grabbing with my right hand, and when I flip over, they're still in my right hand. They're going off to the right hand side of the paper. I'm going to start with the one at the top of the stairs. Notice this layering. Starting at the top of the stairs, I'm going to use the same rule that I just did that I used for the previous twist about the valley fold for the new twist coming right to the corner of the open hole, because the corner of the twist is coming to the corner of the open hole. And then we can set up our new open triangle twist and press to squash. From here, we have a pleat overlap, and we can see where this valley should go based on that alternating set of folds around the center. If we hadn't drawn that on the paper, we would also see that it comes to the corner of the open triangle hole. What we're going to do is open out that pleat that we just put in and have the valley fold extend one spacing further than the corner of that hexagon. This will have the valley fold meet the valley of the pleat that we just opened. We are going to let those valley folds split and match. So remember, with the closed triangle twist, we had mountain folds meeting in this pattern. Here we have valley folds meeting. And we're going to have mountain folds along in that direction. If you're looking at this and you know things about flat foldability of crease patterns, you'll know that this intersection on its own will not fold flat. That's why we have a teeny tiny helper valley fold right there. So I can start setting that up, but before it's going to lay flat, I'm also going to need a third mountain fold around my twist. So this is going to be an open triangle twist. I can go ahead and set up the open triangle. And then I want to let that three-way intersection close up and lay down flat. This is what I call a triangle wrap. So we're wrapping the paper around, we're letting our third plate run out to the side, and we're setting up a new twist while preparing for a future twist that's on the back. So that's what these wraps are good for. They're good for preparing for other twists on the back, and we will be using a lot of them in all of the next days of Advent of Tess. And then we can go ahead and squash our triangle twist that's on this side. And I'll take that wrap in my right hand and flip over. And here, if I just flip the pleat, that's making a closed triangle twist. So what I need to do is shift the mountain fold down one grid spacing and then flip so the valley is on the far side, and that's setting up my open triangle twist. With that in place, I can go ahead and press to squash. So the rule for how this pattern repeats is a bit simpler than the ones we've seen in the last 2 days. It is if you have a triangle, so there's going to be 2 different kinds of triangles in this pattern. There's going to be ones at the corners of the clusters of 4 and ones at the centers. Ones on the corners, like all of the ones that we've folded so far, are going to have 2 neighbors on the opposite side and 1 neighbor on the same side. The twists in the center of clusters are going to have all neighbors on the same side. All of these twists are open triangle twists, and this is true for the clusters on both sides of the paper, which is what makes it what's called an isoarea pattern that's the same on both sides. Strictly speaking, these aren't 100% identical. They are mirror images of each other. So for all of you mathematicians out there, I do recognize that it's not 100% identical. It's the same up to mirror symmetry. And so when we're looking at the pattern that we're folding, all of these corners of clusters have twists on 2 pleats that are on the opposite side. So the third pleat needs to go to a twist on the same side. And as I've talked about before, if you're familiar with origami, don't take that to mean that we're going to do all 6 of those right away. We're going to gradually work our way around the center and get to all of them in time, but there's going to be some other things to resolve along the way. So starting off, we have our new twist on the same side with the corner touching. So our valley fold is going to come to the corner of our existing twist, and our mountain fold will be 1 space away. Then our third pleat is going to set up, giving us an open triangle platform, and press to squash. Then I want to move to the next set of parallel pleats, and one of the things about these patterns where the twists are mostly alternating sides is it might not be the best idea always to set up these friendly overlaps, because the next twist could be on the opposite side of the paper, and when you have an overlap that's friendly on one side, it's unfriendly on the other. So I'm actually going to go to the pleat at the bottom of the stairs. So I had a choice of being at the top of the stairs, going down layers, or at the bottom of the stairs here. And I'm going to choose this one. We have more space to work in, and I think it'll turn out nicer for setting up the twists on the opposite side. And we have the center of a cluster here. We know that because this is a corner and corners connect to centers. So centers need to connect to other corners. I'm going to have the valley fold come to the corner of the twist, the mountain fold one space away, and then set up the third pleat to determine the size of the triangle. As I mentioned earlier, all of the triangles today are open triangle twists. And press to squash. So this pleat overlap, if I was folding more twists on this side, would be an unfriendly overlap. But the next twists are both on the other side, and when I flip over, that's a friendly overlap on this side. The pleats are going out away from each other. And in this pattern, we have a corner triangle twist. We want a center twist directly connected corner to corner. So we can set up our open triangle twist there. We could also set up our next open triangle twist here, but what's going to be easier to squash is to shift this mountain fold back so that we have the setup for a closed triangle twist and lay that down flat. So we can squash one twist right away, and then we can shift that mountain fold back to the open triangle twist position, put the valley on the far side, and press to squash. Now we'll continue working our way around. Here we are at the bottom of the stairs, and that is where we want to be because we're just folding one twist on this side and then resolving the overlap on the other side. The corner of this triangle twist is going to come straight to the corner of this existing twist. So I have the valley fold coming straight to the corner, the mountain fold one space away, and my third pleat determines the size of the triangle. And now with my pleat overlap, I will flip the paper over, and my two new twists will have a shared valley fold coming to the corner of the existing triangle. I'm going to set up one of these triangles as an open triangle and the other as a closed triangle that will lay down flat. So I have plenty of space to press and squash first one triangle, and then I'll turn the second one into an open triangle by shifting that third pleat and press to squash. You'll notice that we are doing the same exact move over and over. And I say same exact with the caveat that we are doing these with right-handed and left-handed twists, and we're doing different handedness for each of these different subsequences. So next up, I'm going to have a new single open triangle twist, and then I'll take that pleat overlap, flip the paper over, and set up one open triangle and one three-way intersection that's laying down flat, and squash, and then turn that three-way intersection into an open triangle twist and press that flat as well. Now we will repeat. I will have a new open triangle on this side with the corner coming right to the corner of one of those triangles that I just made. And then at the overlap, I will flip the paper over and find my new open triangle twist with its corner touching the corner of the existing triangle twist right here, and laying the second triangle interaction down flat temporarily. I'll squash, and then set up the second triangle as an open triangle and squash that one too. Next up, we have our final set of parallel pleats where we have a third pleat here. So that'll be interesting. I'm pretty sure we'll do another triangle wrap. And I'm going to go ahead and set up the single triangle and then flip the paper over to resolve the overlap. This time you can see why I've been setting up the upper triangle, or the center triangle of the cluster first out of these pairs. It's because that one has an overlapping pleat. And so I don't really want to add extra stress to the paper by moving a bunch of things around with this pleat. I would rather move this pleat that doesn't have anything else on it. So far, it's been exactly the same as what we've seen already. Now that next triangle, if we try to directly set that up, we have a pleat problem. And what we're going to do is exactly what we did when we had this situation in the center, which is a triangle wrap. So I have my valley coming up through here. I first have to open the pleat of the triangle that I just put in, and then open the pleat below. I'm going to let the valley that I just drew on meet the valley down below, and that's going to run off on a grid line with a third direction. I'm also going to have a three-way intersection of mountain folds, one space offset from the valley folds, and they are going to finish by tucking under. So this is going to tuck underneath. And notice that I also went ahead and found the third mountain fold for my new open triangle twist while all that was going on, because I need all three of them in order for this whole area of paper to lay down flat. Well, I need the valley as well. And we can press to squash. And grab that wrap, flip over, And this is very familiar, that three-way intersection that we're going to shift the mountain fold one space down, put the valley on the far side, and turn that into a closed triangle twist. So this is the whole pattern for today. This is Wobbly Pyramids, one of my own designs. And let's take a look at the backlighting. So we can see how this pattern looks with some light behind it. We've got those groups of 4 on this side, groups of 4 on the other side. They look much less distinct when you start shining the light. We've got that star in the center. And the way that this pattern repeats is precisely with the rules that I outlined, where the corner twists go to 2 corners on the other side and 1 center, and the center goes to 3 corners on the same side. That's true for both sides of the paper, and it's true for the infinite pattern. So you can see those stars showing up again and again as the pattern repeats. Now, it's not the only way to repeat those stars. There is a second pattern that has those stars with boxes around them, backlighting, that you can also find in the Advent of Tess 2025 ebook. And yeah, you'll find links near you for links near the video for how to get a hold of that ebook. And I definitely recommend spending some time on these triangle patterns, especially if you're newer to origami tessellations, and just spend some time getting used to triangles before jumping to the next level. Now, I won't say that these are the easiest triangle patterns. That's definitely not the case. But there are seeds of those easier patterns. Like, you could take the center and say, well, instead of doing something else off of this corner, I'm just going to keep alternating, have these open triangles alternating sides, and just do that. And that would be a simpler pattern. So tomorrow in Advent of Tess, we are going to jump into hexagon twists. This is an alternating pattern in the hexagons. It has closed hexagon twists and open triangle twists, our friend the open triangle. So we'll be adding 1 new twist and getting a lovely pattern from that. So I hope you join me for tomorrow's Advent of Tess pattern. And I hope that you also spend some time exploring some of these infinite patterns that are based on the Advent of Tess tutorials. Happy folding, and see you tomorrow.